Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I would like to thank you all for joining this morning. I know it might be a little early for some. We do try to spread the webinars out across different times throughout the days and the week so that we're not hitting everyone at the same time for each webinar. So I know that occasionally they might be a little early or a little late, but hopefully they all do work out at some point for you to be able to join. Today's webinar is going to be about the Marketing Center and is Agent Studio working for you? We're going to wait just about maybe 10 to 15 more seconds and let some additional registrations hop on to the webinar. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them either in the chat box or up in the Q&A section. I will work those in throughout the webinar, as opposed to waiting till the end. All right, I think that we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Mickey Taylor, and I am the founder and CEO of Taylor & Company Travel, and I do all of the webinars for Agent Studio. I also write a monthly column in the Agent at Home and Vacation Agent magazines. So I am going to go ahead and type those names of these publications, because if you don't get these already, you definitely should. They are free magazines that come to you in printed form every month, so make sure you sign up for those. They give you a lot of good advice for the various aspects of your travel business. And of course, without fail, the dog decides to play whenever I jump on a webinar. So I might have to jump and take that toy from him, which is actually a plastic container that is making all that noise, even though he has 10 other toys up here. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to do is jump into the actual Marketing Center. And I know that we do have some new agents with Agent Studio that had registered for today. So I want to make sure that I'm addressing how to actually get to the Marketing Center in case you are one of the new agents that are on the webinar today. And all I'm going to do is scroll down to the bottom of my website. It can be any page. Just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see where it says Admin Access. So right beside it, it says Sign In. So we want to go ahead and click on that if you're following along. And give me 1 second to try to take this bowl from this sweet 100-pound dog. Okay. Okay. Well, maybe that isn't going to work so good. Sorry about that. Go ahead and click Sign In. If the noise from the dog becomes too distracting, please let me know. I will shush him out of my office. Okay, so once we're in the control panel, you'll see along the left-hand side we have all of these different options. So we want to go ahead and click on Marketing Center, and that's going to bring up another login screen. Okay, this dual login is for your protection and just adds another layer of security to your website and to the Marketing Center. So it is the same login that you use to get into the control panel. So we're going to go ahead and click Sign In. Okay, so now you're in the Marketing Center, and the first thing that comes up is your dashboard. So what the dashboard is just a mini shortcut to a lot of different pieces of the Marketing Center. So you'll have a quick start on the left, which is just that. It gives you a little bit of information about what the Marketing Center does and is. It gives you a shortcut to import contacts, a shortcut to start an email campaign, and a link to some helpful videos that you can watch should you get stuck and need a little bit of extra guidance. On the right-hand side is news and updates. Anytime there's an update to the Marketing Center, you can find out what that update fixed, changed, improved. It will be here on the right-hand side. Okay, scrolling on down to the bottom, any campaigns that you have currently queued up to go out or scheduled to go out will be listed under queued campaigns. Any recently saved drafts that you have created will be listed in the middle, and the last campaign that you sent out, the performance will be, and analytics will be shown as well. Okay, so today's webinar, we're going to go through some basics of the Marketing Center, but we also are going to touch upon, is Agent Studio working for you? And the answer to that question is absolutely, if you have contacts in your Marketing Center. Okay, one of the biggest assets of having an Agent Studio website is all of the automated features that it brings to your business. Okay, they have automation in the social media marketing venue. We also have automated marketing in the Marketing Center for email campaigns. And I swear by this because it has brought so much business to my agency. And I want to encourage everyone, if you haven't already done so, to, after this webinar, add your contacts into the Marketing Center. Because what that's going to do for you, and I'm going to pop up, sure I am. There we go. Every Thursday, if you have contacts in your Marketing Center, everyone that you have entered is going to receive an email just like this. It's going to be from your agency. It's called the Weekend Travel. The logo is very fun and light. It can go with every agency. And what this email contains is the top 5 news stories from the previous week. It will have listed the top 5 popular deals from the previous week, as well as showcasing a destination. And at the bottom, of course, it has your agency name and that it was sent in collaboration with Agent Studio. Now, every time, what is so great about this is, number one, you don't have to do anything at all. Once you add your contacts, this will automatically be sent out every Thursday. So if you get those contacts in today, tomorrow morning, your clients will all receive this newsletter from you, and you don't have to do anything else from this point forward. What's so great about this, other than the fact that we don't have to do anything to get our clients to receive this? Every one of these links leads your clients or your contacts back to your Agent Studio website. So I clicked on, this is the email from last Thursday, and the Bali article, you can see this is my website. Okay, that's the article, but it also shows on the side, and our internet is a little bit sluggish this morning. I'm not really sure why, because it isn't raining, which usually causes an issue. And classes are in at Auburn, so there shouldn't be any issue, but it is a lot quicker than this. It's my internet connection, not the Agent Studio platform. But along the side, there will be some pop-up options as well for your clients to look at that relate to this article. Okay, so that was one of the articles. And every article, if we go through and click on each of these, it will lead them right back to your website. Now, the deals, they click on this, it's going to also bring them right back to your website. It's going to bring up the information about this trip. They can request a quote from you, they can send it to a friend, or they can contact you should they have any additional questions. Okay, what these links do, if there would be an itinerary, that information would pop up. This gives destination information as well as pricing. And I'm going to close out of a couple of these so I don't get too many windows open and get lost. And the last one, at the destination that's showcased at the bottom, is at random. And it always does showcase a destination. And also, just like with the other two sections, when that is clicked, it brings them right back to your Agent Studio website. Now, the point of this, you might be asking, is why does it matter that this news article contains links to our website? Well, that's the name of the game. You know, marketing isn't going to be instantaneous. When you start putting regular posts out over social media, they aren't going to instantly drive, 10 sales your way. It takes time. Because the idea with marketing, with anything, whether it's travel, your product, whatever it is that you're trying to market or ultimately sell, is you have to prove your knowledge, your expertise. That's what ultimately leads to sales. When somebody builds a trust with you, that's what's going to lead them to look at your product, look at your website, and read what it is you're posting or sharing out through email campaigns. So it's never a great idea to just try to sell, and have your emails and your social media posts do nothing but say, hey, buy from me. Hey, here's a sale. Hey, have you thought about buying this cruise? So that's one thing that you want to make sure you're not doing with your marketing, whether it be through email and the marketing center or through social media or the automated social media platform. You want to stress and show everyone that follows you and every one of your contacts that you're not just a salesperson. You're there to teach them. You're there to show them the different aspects and the different places to travel, the different options for traveling, such as cruises, land and cruise, that type of thing. So when you're thinking about what you want to market and share, I don't know why all of these are up. My apologies for that. All of these, I don't know why lately when I set my notifications to off during the webinars, I don't know why they continue to pop up. So when you're thinking about your campaigns and what direction you want to take your marketing in, just always make sure that you're more focused on the beta. If you have a question, do me a favor and just type it in the Q&A section or in the chat box, and then I will answer all the questions as we go through, as opposed to waiting until the end. Because if you keep posting and sharing information that does nothing but scream sales pitch, and buy this trip for me, buy this cruise for me, your clients and your followers are going to say bye, bye, bye to you eventually. They'll get tired of seeing nothing but a sales pitch. I know I get tired of seeing it, and I don't always unfollow those people. Actually, because I do a lot of marketing, it's in my nature. I'd like to reach out to them, and I don't ever do this, but I would love to reach out to them and say, you know, you would get further if you shared some information and showed your knowledge about this product that you're trying to sell, as opposed to constantly just putting out a sales pitch. So you don't want your followers to feel that way. And what this does, you know, I've had some people say, well, hey, this is a sales pitch. It's not directly a sales pitch. It's the way it's presented. You're not saying, hey, you should buy this trip, or, you know, are you looking to go on your next vacation? This deal is right for you. It subtly shares, you know, and just shows, hey, this is where the majority of the people are going. This is where they booked last week. If you're interested, they can click here. But it's also giving them news articles as well as a destination. Okay, let's see if so beta. Okay, she didn't post. Oh, over here. Let's see. Is the marketing available with the affiliated agency basic subscription, or will I have to upgrade to be able to get full advantage? Great question. It is available to every subscription. The only difference between the free option and the paid options, which start at the starter option, their starter, pro, and elite, is that to have full access to the marketing center on the free subscription, you have to have 25 contacts in the marketing center to open up all the features. But you can, even if you're new in the business and just starting out, you should be able to come up with 25 friends and relatives that you can add their emails into the marketing center. That will make all of those options available to you. Okay. Now, one of the other great things about the marketing center is all of the suppliers that have partnered up and that have their content on our Agent Studio websites occasionally like to do a co-branded or a co-partnered email. And those co-branded emails are never sent out more than once every 7 days. And they're sent out so infrequently that I couldn't even find one going back through my emails for the past month. So they don't always go out, but from time to time there will be, you know, there might be a cruise line coming out with a new cruise ship. It's getting ready to, you know, sail its maiden voyage is November, and they would like to share that with you and your contacts. Now, if that supplier is someone that you chose when you were setting up your website under suppliers, if you chose that supplier in here as someone you sell or would like to sell, and you haven't opted out of those co-branded emails, your clients would receive a copy of that email as well. And again, they aren't frequent. I couldn't even find one. Some agents get worried like, oh, my clients are going to receive too many. It's never more than one a week, and I've never received one every week. And when I say I haven't received it, make sure you're adding yourself as a contact into your marketing center so that you receive everything that your clients are receiving. Let's see. Zabeta says, my site looks nothing like yours. It's very basic. Yours is very professional and nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My website is kind of like my third child. When all of my spare time, well, not all of it, but a lot of it. I'm constantly adding and fixing and creating. I've created a lot of the content on my site myself to, showcase those suppliers that I love to work with, to kind of guide or steer my clients when they come to my website. I will sell just about any supplier, but I like to steer them and guide them toward the ones that I love to sell. So that's why I've added a bunch of different content. I'm also working on some different destination content. Takes a while though. So especially if you're just getting started, there's so much to do and so much to learn. It can be really overwhelming, but just remember, it's slow and steady wins the race. Okay. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So, just lay out a plan for yourself and your agency, and, take it one step at a time. Focus this week, you're going to focus on marketing. Next week, you're going to focus on adding, a new section to your website. It's ongoing. With marketing, it never ends. With the SEO, which is search engine optimization on your site, it never ends. Updates to your website, they can end, but in my case, they never end. I'm always, even if I'm not really updating, I'm always going through my site to make sure that everything's working. I try to test out a few different pages every day, because if there's one thing that will kill any momentum you've built, is if you have links on your website that don't work. So if there's ever a time when you go to your website and something is down, if it's, the tour section, the news section, anything like that, please make sure. I do not know why these, give me 1 second to check this again. The other day I put the wrong 8:59, 9. Oh, okay. Well, that would be the reason. I put 9:15 instead of 10:15. So there, now we've taken care of those annoying notifications. Please make sure you're going right away and putting in a support ticket, because a lot of times that's the only way that, Agent Studio, if it's something that they get alerted to, they'll automatically know about it and they'll be working on it. But, it could be something that maybe just happened, and you always want to reach out and put in a support ticket. And those support tickets can be done in the control panel under Help Center. Right here, click to submit a support ticket. So please go ahead and do that. I'm always on the lookout for those types of things, because I know it can really kill the momentum. I hate to go to a website and, it's one thing if one certain link doesn't work. That happens occasionally, but if the website is completely down, or there's multiple links that don't work, or it constantly says coming soon, those are red flags to me. So we don't want to fall into that category. So definitely, test out your own website as if you're a client, and look at what they see. And it does give you a different perspective on, what else you want to add, what you might want to take away from your site, and make sure that you're adding items that you can keep up with and maintain on your own. Or if you're lucky enough to be in a situation where you can hire someone to maintain your website, that's awesome. Then that's probably a lesser worry for you within your agency. So just a little general feedback about that. So now that we've talked about, is Agent Studio working for you? They will always work for you if you take a few easy, basic steps with, whether it's in the automated social media or the marketing center. So one thing that's really important is for you to take advantage of those items. And, I've heard, well, I've been sending out this, email for 3 months now, and it hasn't brought me any sales. And with that, my response is, it isn't a magic tool, so you constantly have to be working the business, making sure that you are doing the social media marketing as well, and getting yourself out there, whether it's going to a Rotary event. You have to be networking and sharing your agency information across every avenue that you can possibly find, okay? Because nothing is a guarantee, and it also takes time. When you think about it, most of your clients are going to book 1, maybe 2 trips a year. And if you've just gotten into the business, it's a good time because summer is coming, but also, your list, especially if you have a smaller contact list right now, they may have already started planning and they don't know yet. They're not used to you selling travel. So it might take you months in order to see your work come to fruition. Okay, don't get discouraged. It does take some time. When I first started and mentioned about the newsletter, I said that I swear by this and that it has brought me a lot of business. And what I do is, anywhere I go, travel, or anytime that I come across a new contact, people say business cards are dead. I totally disagree. I just went to the New York Times travel show in New York. In the hotel alone, I handed out 25 business cards. I came in with a bag that had my logo on it, and when I checked in, the ladies behind the desk asked me, why I was there. I told them, and they were like, "Oh, you're a travel agent. I have been looking to go to Cabo." And so I pull out my business card. And also, my business cards aren't just, the normal flimsy general, let me get 500 cards for $20. They are thicker. I use a company called Moo. And if you would like more information about them, please email me. I can definitely send you some discounts and some links in order to look at them. They are a little pricier, but every card I handed out to a supplier at that event has all already emailed me back, and they've all mentioned my business card because they stand out. So I don't believe that business cards are dead for that reason. And when I'm traveling at the airport, you sit, if you're waiting, we're all supposed to be there hours before our flight leaves. And sometimes we get right through security. So we're sitting at a restaurant, we're sitting at the gate. Open a conversation with the people beside you. Try to exchange cards. When I get those business cards, the first thing I do, whether it's on my phone, on my iPad, or on my laptop, I immediately add their contact information into the marketing center, because I might lose that business card. And I can guarantee you probably 75% of the people that you meet that way are going to lose your card, but you're not going to lose touch with them if you take the time and add them to your marketing center, because you know what? The next Thursday after you enter them, they're going to get this email every week. And that's the way that they're going to remember that they met you, that you're a travel agent. They're going to remember that conversation. I get trips through this probably once a month. My favorites, I have a couple stories that I like to share about this newsletter. I left my job. I was an accountant for 23 years. I quit cold turkey. I had started doing travel on the side. I went in one day, wasn't even ready to start full-time in the travel business, but my boss that I loved like a brother left. The new replacement wasn't working out with me. I just didn't, it wasn't a good fit. So I went in one day and just said, I'm sorry, I quit. I'm giving you a 3-month notice. I'm going to work part-time between now and the next 3 months and finish the audits that I'm doing, and then I'm done. So obviously I had a lot of people that I had worked with. I had their contact information, and it wasn't a huge announcement. It wasn't like, a planned, hey, I had been there for, almost 10 years, let's say goodbye. I was just done. So the only way I had to really communicate with a lot of our sales team and people that I enjoyed working with but never really saw was through my emails. And I think there's been like 8 people now that after they started getting this, reached out. I didn't know you left. I didn't know that you went into travel. They knew that because they get this email. And those people, so Cynthia is asking, please email me the supplier you use for your business cards. Definitely. I will definitely send that to you as soon as the webinar is over. I met a guy in the Atlanta airport, and we were both there really early, struck up a conversation, and we exchanged cards. As soon as I got on the plane, I opened up my iPad, put his information in the marketing center, and exactly what I thought, he lost my card, but he started getting this newsletter. And a month and a half, maybe 2 months later, he emailed me and said, I'm so thankful that you started sending me your newsletter because I lost your card. He was planning a honeymoon, and we had talked about it. I gave him some ideas. He did a little bit of research, came back to me, booked a little bit over a $10,000 honeymoon, and he's been a client ever since. So do I personally have time to create a great newsletter like this every week? No, I don't. Some weeks I do, but most of the weeks I don't. One of the things with marketing that is key is to get into a routine and do it repeatedly. I don't trust that each week I'm going to have time to do any type of marketing. But what is so great about Agent Studio is if we do a few simple things like adding our contacts, we don't have to worry about it because they're automatically going to send this out once a week. And to me, this is enough for my clients to receive. I don't do a lot of other marketing. I will occasionally send out an email campaign if there's I like to work with, some of the higher end cruise companies. I love Sea Dream. If they're having a super great sale, like at Christmas, they had a last minute sale because they still had some openings for a New Year's cruise. I sent that out. But other than that, I'll send out birthday emails to my clients for their birthday. I'll do like a Thanksgiving, a New Year's type of thing. But I don't do a lot of other email campaigns other than this because I feel like I don't have to. Okay, so a lot of people, you run into not knowing what to do or what to put out there. I rely on this almost 100%. Okay, so with that being said, let's jump back into the marketing center and show you how to get those contacts in there. If you do want to send out your own email campaigns, this system is super easy. I'm a very tech-oriented person. I pick up very quickly. I worked for an email software company. So when I entered this business, I was all about wanting technology. And when I first started, I started dabbling towards the end of 2014, just playing a little bit. And then started more, I would say I wasn't even a part-timer at that point. I was just in the research, let me investigate, because I did corporate travel, but knew nothing really about the leisure side other than planning my own trips and for some family members. So I had never done anything on the leisure side. So at that point, I was just researching, trying to gather some information. I started out with a host, and I thought that when I joined that host, they were going to share all these technology options and, you know, give me all this automation. And it was nothing like that at all. It was for an itinerary. It was cut and paste in a Word template, which totally was taboo to me. Was not what I wanted to hear, not what I expected to get. So I started digging and finding the technology on my own, which also prompted me to leave the host because I felt like I wasn't getting anything from them that I needed. But my point in mentioning that about me being such a techie person is I've tried other email softwares. Like when I first got into this, before I started with Agent Studio and I was with that host agency, I looked at Constant Contact. I looked at MailChimp. I looked at Aweber. The stuff that I had to do to make a normal, very professional looking email, it was a day. It would take me a day to pull all this information together. I didn't have that kind of time. So when Agent Studio came out with the Marketing Center, or I got with Agent Studio and they had the Marketing Center, this was fabulous because once I show you how to add contacts, I'm going to show you the integration part of the Marketing Center, which is a couple clicks and you have an awesome looking newsletter. So let's start with contacts. And with contacts, you can add them one at a time by clicking on Add Contact. You only need a first name and a last name and their email address. Okay, and at the bottom, you can choose to check off some of the travel interests for this contact if you know them. Otherwise, you can click Add the Contact. If you know any of the other information from their business card, definitely add it. If you don't, you only need the first, last, and email address. I also, if I am just randomly speaking with someone and they give me their email address and I only know their first name, I'll put their first name in as their last name as well, because I will rarely ever send out any email where I'm going to use a last name. I'm going to only use their first name, so I don't have a problem putting in their first name also as their last name. I'd rather have their email in there and them start to communicate and get my correspondence than to just totally disregard this contact because I don't have their last name. So I'm going to add that, and then you'll get this notification that they've been added. Now, that's a great way to add them one-off as you start collecting information from people you meet, email campaign, or if you have added, like I have different forms. When you first go to my website, I have a pop-up form that asks them to sign up for the newsletter, and that goes into a different database. So I add them one-off. Also contact forms, trip inquiries, things like that. They don't automatically link to the Marketing Center. So as soon as I get those inquiries, I go right into my Marketing Center and add them one-off, which takes 30 seconds. But if you're just starting out and you want to add all of your contacts in here, you can do an upload. And the upload is done by downloading this template. And it's going to take a second for it to open up. And once this opens, you'll see the template is actually just the same fields that we just saw when we were adding a contact one at a time. Again, the only fields that need to have information in them are the first name, last name, and email. If you have the other information, you can add it for some and leave it blank for others. It isn't one of those templates where you have to fill everything in for everyone. And I'm going to put a couple samples in here to show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to do, actually, let me flip it. And then I'm going to put in an email that isn't finished to show you what happens. Okay, so I'm going, once you have all of your contacts in here, and whatever system you're currently using, 99% of them all have a, all have an export feature so that you can pull your contacts out in Excel format. All you have to do is paste them into this spreadsheet. Save it. I'm going to save it to my desktop so I can find it. Wow, my computer's running super slow today. I am really sorry about that. It's taking definitely longer than it should to open up files and folders. So let's go to the desktop and let's see. I thought that I put it in the desktop. I guess I put it into downloads. So once you do that, you can scroll down to the bottom. Now it will automatically go into your master list, which I like to have a master list which contains all of my contacts. Then after you start working, you can come up with different lists, birthday lists, you know, cruises, things like that, to where you can also add those contacts into the different lists, but I'll always like to have them in my master. So if you don't designate any lists, and if you're just starting out, you wouldn't have any additional lists to add them to. And at the bottom, if you want to put, check off some travel interests, you can do that, but just know that anything you check off is going to be checked off for every one of those contacts. And you can import up to 500 contacts at a time. And once you're ready, click import. Now, it told me that none of my contacts were imported. Whoops. Okay, and normally, and I'm not sure why it didn't tell me today, normally it will tell me why it was rejected. I know why the one was rejected. And that's because, let me make sure, that might have been an empty contact list. Let me make sure that that's the one. Yeah, that was the one. Let me jump into the desktop and show you. Try this one. Whoops. Click too quick. Okay, there we go. Now, contact with this email already exists. So I already had this email, michelle@gmail.com, already in there. And if you look at this email address, it is invalid. So it will give you the reasons why. And then it will also give you 498 were imported and 2 were rejected. So you will know out of all of those contacts that you imported how many were successful and how many weren't. It's super easy. Once you try it, it takes a matter of minutes to do that. And once you have your contacts in there, they will automatically start getting that newsletter. And you will start getting your agency name and your website in front of everyone that's in your contact list. And I tell you, anybody that I come in contact with that emails me, tries to sell me something, I add them to my contact list. Now, if they work for a travel supplier, it's a little different. I don't add them, but you know, I'm always getting emails for web developers and we do SEO and let us do your digital marketing, that type of thing. I add all of them in here. They always have the option to opt out on every email that is sent, even the automated newsletters, so they can opt out. Add them into your marketing center. I do. And most of them don't opt out. Most of the time, the only issue I end up after a while with those are the emails will bounce because they no longer work at that company. Okay, so once you have contacts in there, you can start creating a campaign. And we are going to create a new email and show you how super easy it is. In a matter of minutes, we can have an email set up that looks very professional that will lead everyone back to your website. So I'm going to just randomly click one of these templates. Since today's Valentine's Day, let's just click the romance one. Okay, now it comes, there's some default text, default images. They also, the colors are geared towards the theme of that template. If you want to change any of that, all you do is click over here on the right-hand side and you can move this around and make any changes that you want. Maybe you want that to be a little bit lighter, super light, can change that. And once you've found the perfect shade, you can click the select button. The same thing with any of the font color. All you have to do is just move the cursor around until you find the shade you want. Font family, we can change this by clicking on a different font. And the border color, maybe let's darken it up a little bit. Okay, so you can see how easy it is to change any of that. Okay, let's see. I never like to lead off great travel offers. I don't like to lead with an offer of anything. I might be including a sale for like Sea Dream. When I mentioned that sale, I didn't lead with the sale. I led with information about Sea Dream. I led with a link to a video, that type of thing. So if you want to change the wording, you can see this gets outlined. We can click edit and it brings up the information or the verbiage that's in there. I like to have my agency name at the top. And sorry, that was the dog that's kind of sleeping now and kind of snoring beside me. He always adds a little bit of flair into all of my webinars when he's in here. And he's only 100 pounds, so, you know, not that big of a dog. And if we want to make this bigger, we can come up here and I think I can do 22 and it fits perfectly. You can play around and see, you know, how big fits. The image is cute for today, but if we wanted to change that, we would come down here to add new content, and that would be custom content. And this is the same type of template that you have when you're creating web pages. So this might look familiar. Let's upload an image and show you how that's done. Actually, let's go to downloads and find something. Let's grab this. Now, once you have uploaded your image, you need to send it to the server. And what that's doing, it's sending it to the same server that your website sits on. and that way the system has access to it. Otherwise, it won't work. Maybe we want to make this, 400 by 350. Now you see when I'm changing the height, it's automatically changing the width. If you have a specific height and width you want this to be, you can click the lock and then you can change them on your own. Now, sometimes this is a little contrary to center your image. And of course, it's going to be contrary today. And if I run into that issue, all I do is come back in here and I'll just make it a little bit larger so that I basically force it to be centered. And save. Okay, looks pretty good. Now, if I wanted to replace this image with the one at the top, all I would do is click and drag this up, and then I could delete this image. And you can delete anything by just clicking on the delete button. I'm going to delete that one I just entered because I want this to pop back up. The verbiage in the middle, it's all default. This is what it always defaults to. I would never send an email out with what is automatically in there, so I delete it and just leave hi first name. Now, if you notice, these are the fields that are in the contact form. And if you want to include any of them, all you do, it's a mail merge. So if you've done mail merges in Word or anything, any other type of software, these will be familiar to you. Like I said, I only ever use first name, and whatever punctuation you want after it, comma, semicolon, you would just put it right after. And then in here is where you would type whatever it is you want to say. And this, since this is Valentine's Day, short and sweet, just for the sake of the webinar, and then sign it. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. And now this is the huge part. This is the part that's so easy. If we want to add information from our website, all we have to do is click the Add New Content, click on Destinations, and wherever it is we want to send them. Turks and Caicos. And click Search. And I probably spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay, Turks and Caicos pops up. All we have to do to add this to our email is click the plus sign. If this is strictly going to be, you know, you want to just showcase some destinations, we can type in another one and search. Okay, let's skip that and do Punta Cana, something that I can easily spell. Okay, let's add that. Okay, so 2 destinations. Maybe you want to add a news article that you saw on your website. So this is coming in, and let's search Valentine's Day and see what articles show up. Here's one that is from a Safari operator. And if you wanted to showcase this package, you can click that. We can also search romance travel. Okay, this was from, so specifically on romance travel, this is from 2017. If you wanted to include that, all you have to do is click. Okay, now here's some news stories and some destinations. At the bottom, which is where if I would include any deals, they're always at the bottom. Let's see if there's anything that says romance. Here's a romance voyage. Canary Islands, Riviera Romance. Perfect. A click of that plus sign adds that right into your template. This can't be done with any of the other third-party email providers because they're not integrated with our website. Okay, and I don't like this one because the image isn't showing up. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to go with this. At the bottom, this is information that you added when you set up your agency. And in the control panel, when you added all of your social media accounts, this is where it pulls them. And at the bottom of every email is the opt-out option. Now, before we can move forward, we have to give this email a subject. So, for future. And we have to come down here and look at this spam score. We have to run this test. And what this does, this tells you what the chances are that based on the email subject, this will end up in your client's spam folder. It cannot be sent out unless it's below 1.0. And if it comes in and it's higher than 1, you have to give it a new email subject name. This one's below, and it's green, so it's perfectly fine. We're going to click next, and we're brought to what mailing list do we want to send this to? Well, I'm going to do a test because the last time I did a webinar in the Marketing Center, thank goodness the email campaign that I created was kind of good because I forgot to cancel it and it went out to everyone on my list. So Cheryl knows, she's used to getting stuff from me. So if I forget, it's only going to myself, Shay, and Cheryl. So once you've chosen your list, we're going to hit next. Now, here is where we can preview exactly what our email is going to look like. Now, once it is sent to your actual client, this percent first name percent is going to be swapped out with that client's first name. It won't go out like this. Go down, looks pretty good. If you want a sample, which I always suggest that you send yourself a preview. I look through that email and I can't tell you how many times when I have chosen to create my own email campaigns to send out, I send them to myself and I find something that's either misspelled or something that I don't like. Send it to yourself, look at it. It comes in a couple minutes, it goes through the system. That way you can see it firsthand. Once you've done that, you can come over here and say, hey, this is when I want it to go out. I want it to go out on the 25th at 11:11 in the morning. I can schedule this campaign right here, or if I'm not ready to schedule it yet, I need to check on something, you can also save it as a draft. Okay, if I want to schedule, I'm going to click schedule, and then it's going to show up in my queued folder. And it's not quite there. It's still going through its motions. Let's see, where did it go? Okay, there it is. Now, up until the time that this is scheduled to go out, you can edit the campaign, you can clone it, delete it, or preview it. Now, I'm going to automatically delete this because I don't want it to go out, even though it's only going to those 3 people. Once an email campaign is sent, it will show up in your sent folder, and then you can go and look at the analytics on that campaign. So here you can see out of the last time I sent out a campaign, was in February. It was a Sea Dream sale for some cruises in April. I sent out almost 4,000. 526 of those opened it up, 23 clicked through, 135 emails bounced, and when you can click on each of those and it will give you the reason why. Okay, so a lot of these students that I had done spring break travel in the past, they're no longer here. They're no longer students at Auburn, so their emails are kicking back. And you can go down through, it will tell you. So if you know these people personally, you can update their email address. If you don't, they may be just lost contacts, okay, because their emails are not working. If anybody unsubscribes, you can click here and see who is unsubscribed. Sometimes like this, when they go out for some reason occasionally, and please, if this happens to you, put in a ticket. I put in tickets all the time, and sometimes agent studios like, okay, it's Mickey. We're just like, I put in for everything. But if this is happening to you, we need to know about it and let support know, hey, why is this happening? Because this has happened to me a couple times when I've sent out a large number of emails and the analytics hasn't worked. But I've received emails back from people who have opened and clicked through my email, so I know that at least, however many people responded to me, so I know that this is incorrect. No unique opens, no click-throughs, that type of thing. So if this happens to you, please reach out and put in a support ticket and say, hey, why is this happening? Because I believe they aren't getting enough feedback from agents to really dig in and get enough to compare enough campaigns to figure out why it does it occasionally. So we definitely need your help in that respect. If things aren't working properly, put in a support ticket. And that took us not even 20 minutes to set up a campaign, and I was explaining as we went. So you can see how you can literally go in here and in a matter of minutes have an email set up to send out. So it is, in addition to the fact that it's automated, you can add your clients, your contacts in here and just let it go. You also can easily set up emails, and it's not time consuming. Every one of those links that we added into that email will work exactly like this email does. Everything we click is going right back to your website, which is what we want to do. We want your clients to come here and be based off of something they saw in an email campaign or in a social media marketing post and be like, oh, that's interesting. And then come in here and be like, oh, book now. What's that? Oh, I can book directly on this site. Let me look and see what that is. What is that they're selling? Oh, find your next trip. What is this? And this link doesn't work, by the way. I need to fix it. So guaranteed departures. What does that mean? Oh, I can find different tours in here. So we want to bring them back to your website because we want them to see what else you have to offer. Zabeda says, is this webinar available for review after class? Yes, it will be available within 24 hours. Once it's over, I convert the file and send it to Agent Studio. Sometimes it's up sooner, but they always ask for 24 hours to get it up, and you will be able to find it on their YouTube channel. And I'll show you where that is, where all the replays are held. And you will also get an email 24 hours after the webinar is over that will send you the same link that I'm going to show you. Stop that. It will bring you to the videos page, and this is all the latest videos. So he still has yesterday's. There was an issue with yesterday's file, so it will be up. It didn't happen until last evening. It was at 4 p.m. I think yesterday. So by the end of today, yesterday's webinar will be up, and by the end of the day tomorrow, today's webinar will be up. And they go in, order that they happened. But there's a lot of my previous webinars are in here as well. So if you get a chance, I know time can be, it's a commodity for us, but if you ever do get the chance to go back through any of the previous webinars, there's good information in those because different groups ask different questions. So somebody might have asked a question in another webinar about the Marketing Center that didn't come up, or that I just happened to not cover. And it takes the webinar in a different direction and you can learn different things. So that's always a good idea to do that if you have the chance. And we're about 7 minutes over, so I don't want to keep you any longer. I know that your time is valuable. I thank all of you for taking the time out and joining today's webinar. I hope you found some useful information. I will send Cynthia you the information on the business cards. If anybody else has any questions, my email address is in your registration. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can also reach out to support by adding a support ticket. And if there are no other questions, I'm going to let you all go. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Zabeda, I will send that to you as well. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Hopefully it's filled with lots of romantic travel sales and interactions. And I hope to see you on another webinar. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week.